Welcome to the Town of Hennessey Board of Trustees regular meeting, Tuesday, July 14th, Town Hall Council Room at 6 p.m. We'll call to order and roll call, please.
Randy?
Here.
Burke?
Here.
And Tom?
Here.
Report from the Town of Hennessey ad hoc agencies. I don't believe they've had any meetings. Okay. Number 3, consider approval of consent agenda. Approval of minutes from the previous month's meeting. Approval of claims as follows: General Fund $64,476.18, RSTF $40,881.55, Cemetery Care nothing. Previous month's claims $2,028.64. Town Treasurer's Report. Oh, is it here? Okay. Renew the contract with Crawford and Associates to provide accounting services for the Town of Hennessey for fiscal year 27. Quarterly financial report, and approve budget amendment 8 through 12 for fiscal year 25 through 26. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Randy?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes.
Okay, number 4, citizens' comments. Okay. Number 5, Town Administrator Report.
So they're doing the dirt work in the ditches on Mitchell Road. Probably in the next couple of weeks. Next week they'll start laying the final layer. What was some other things? The pool's been doing really well. We're figuring out some stuff that maybe, some more stuff that we need to change for next year. So we're starting a list of that. People are still finding out about us. Like, we're still getting those, wow, I didn't realize this was here. So even after the 6th year, we're still getting people coming from all over.
That's good.
So one thing that I want to talk to you guys about later on is possibly doing, because night swim is very popular, doing one night swim a week that is kind of locals only. That way we're able to kind of give our citizens a time to just go and enjoy it, amongst themselves. I don't know, I'm going to talk to Jared about that to see if we can even do that. The OMAG will be here for the event insurance to help us with possibly a policy next month. We've been getting a lot of complaints about code enforcement, so that's why I've asked Brian to present tonight their services, because it's just something that we're getting it's in the summertime especially. It's really hard to get everything going, especially with the end of fiscal year, beginning of fiscal year. We're trying to get all the stuff done. I know you guys approved Crawford's. They'll start their year-end stuff. They were going to start next week, but Tammy fell and broke her ankle, so it's going to be, she's got to have surgery Thursday, so it's going to be a little bit. Other than that, I think the 4th of July festivities went wonderful. So can't wait to see what, Shelley can build on that.
Great job.
Yes, very great job. And so I think the community is even excited. She's got people interested in helping her that didn't. So other than that, we just keep on trying to make Hennessey the best place we can.
Okay. Thank you, Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll move down to other scheduled business. 6.1, discussion with Henry Code compliance and possible action to obtain their services for code compliance for nuisance for the Town of Hennessey.
Good evening, board. I apologize for you guys getting that last minute report, but I thought you had it in your hands sooner than that. My name is Brian Henry, and I own a small but growing company out of Enid, Oklahoma. Excuse me, sir. Just give you guys this. I hope 5 is enough because that's what I had in the truck.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Whoever wants those, there you go.
Thank you.
So, give you guys just kind of a background. Got my start with the city of Enid several years ago. We've been at this now for 13 years. We have been out offering the third-party service side of it for the last 6 years. Started in O'Keene, and this thing just grew like wildfire. A lot of cities that are in the same situation as yourself just needed a hand, but didn't want to hire somebody full-time to do so. So, based on that, we've expanded our service area now all the way from Laverne. As of this week, we are down in Granite, all the way out to Slaughterville and Fairfax. So that's a wide net, and you guys are right in the middle of that. We've really just made our niche off of going to small towns, being a small town kid myself from Henrietta, Oklahoma, just kind of understanding what that looks like. Everybody's a little bit sensitive about private property rights, so we kind of have to work within the guidelines of that and try to get voluntary compliance out of people on some things that they otherwise might not want to do. Tiffany and actually Shelley, I've seen them at several OCEA events and always pick their ear when I've seen them because Hennessey's just right down the road from us. And finally, I think just everything lined up. So they asked that I be here to answer any questions you guys have or just see if there's anything I can answer for you.
What is the Henry Code? I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, well, the Henry Code is just my last name and sitting there with the Secretary of State filling out paperwork really fast. I was like, what's your company name? I have no idea.
It's not a statewide.
No.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
I like it though. We could run with that. You're gonna get laughed out of every room I try to present that in, but we'll see. No, that's just, like I said, last name and didn't have another name ready when I was filing my paperwork. Primarily what we enforce out of, and I'm assuming you guys have this adopted, is the International Property Maintenance Code. Okay, so it's something that your people are already used to seeing. Basically, it's once a house is built, this is how you maintain it. You keep the walls without holes in them, windows, grass cut, that kind of deal. Nothing unfamiliar or anything extreme. We did a tour Saturday during the monsoon, which was, I should have checked the weather before we did, but my kids had a great time in it. And they kept rolling down the windows, and I was like, please stop, this is not working out well. You guys, honestly, Tiffany, that what you told me you needed help with, I honestly would say, well, that's not your worst issue. Honestly, it's grass and trash, it's a small town. That's what happens. You guys have a very manageable caseload. I think 77 is what we ended up with. What we do is we just go to the community, we find the map, which I hope we got everything, and we just go driving like, any Joe citizen would, just speed limit going down the fronts, and that's everything we saw curbside. We tend to try to stay out of backyards and all of that. That's asking for a fight, especially when you first get going with stuff. You've got enough curb appeal issues that I think that's a good starting point. We even made a recommendation, I think, as to where to start. It's up to you if you go with that. But it just seems like that was the reasonable one to get you guys started and then kind of reassess after that and see, from there where you think you need to go.
We have problems a lot of times living here, working here, because we may go, Randy's may have, 24-foot grass, and we go and implement the code on him, and then we're hated, for a long period of time. And so, we're the Nazis is what, And so, bringing in a third party, I think is the best solution for small town, because, small town politics and all of that. He works in Dover, he works in Kingfisher, he works in O'Keene, he works in Drummond. He works in a lot of areas, small towns, so it's gonna be his, for the people who see it, they're gonna, he does it just down the road, so.
Okay. Yeah, it takes that bias or anyone that thinks there's a bias or, they're writing me a red ticket because they don't like me, this or that. It takes all that out of the way. So I think a third party is a great idea.
The one piece I will tell you, because I know previously who you guys used, he was a dear friend of mine, it's sad to see him go. But I warned him for several years when he worked with me in a different community, hey, that red card thing just gets people all riled up. Because for whatever reason, the color red just, it incenses people. We don't do that. We do a courtesy letter. Your neighbors don't even know you got it. It comes privately in the mail to you. You take care of the problem. We stop right there. We don't go any further. If you don't, then we start to see stuff show up, and then that's where things can get a little sensitive. The only thing that we ask, based on what we send you guys, if there's anything that's off limits that you don't want us to touch, you just tell us at that point. But kind of touching what Tiffany said, we're not gonna address, let's just say, appliances at the mayor's house, and we're not gonna do it at the town, lunatic's house either. I'm just thinking the two polar opposites. Maybe the mayor is the town lunatic, I don't know. But
There's a lot of people won't disagree with
fair
that.
enough, okay. So we just leave it alone. We don't pick on anybody, we don't play favorites. If we're touching grass, we're doing it across the town.
Sure.
So that's just the one thing. We believe in what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I briefly glanced through the list, and I see properties on there that we dealt with 15 years ago. And they are on the list year after year after year. I think what has happened in the past is they just wear us down. We get going really good through a summer, and they get it abated 2 or 3 times, and then by the next summer, it's bad again. What is your options, or how do you handle those kind of situations to where, and I know you start voluntarily, but what if they don't comply? Then what's your next step?
It really goes off what the desire of the community is, and so I'm glad you asked that. So every community is a little bit different. When I say we go to Ringwood, it's basically, hey, would you please? They just got a judge for the first time, and we've had 1 court hearing in 5 years that we've been there. And then there are other towns that are very punitive. Like, they want you to go heavy and hard with the judge. They don't care what your reason is. Boom, get it done. And then there's everything in between. So it really matters what Garber wants. Or I'm sorry, not Garber. I'm sorry. I'm thinking something else. I kind of probably just let the cat out of the bag when I said that right after the penal thing. But anyways, it's what Hennessey wants. We are gonna craft that however it is that you guys want this to work. If you want us to be friendly and work with your people, then we're gonna do that. If you wanna go hard and heavy, that's gonna be your all's direction. We don't do anything that is not in lockstep with your desires. And so I'm kind of saying that right now because I know the cameras are hearing me, so that there's no questions later on, hey, I thought this guy said. Whatever we do is at the not the direction of the board, but it's within your priorities, right? So my point in saying that is that if we send you a letter and you voluntarily clean it up, fantastic, we move on, you're off the list the next month and we're done. If you don't, there are things that we can do to, step that up, whether that's abate a property, file a lien against it, in which case then there's some other ramifications for that for a homeowner. If you choose to file things and take them to the court, we can do that as well. Like I said, it's really whatever the flavor of the community is that we happen to be in that day.
So, a lot of times, like on the weeds and grass, it depends on, we're getting ready for a new judge, because our new judge starts next week. Will he, we have to discuss with him, will you see these in your court? Will you, and things like that, because then if they get sent a letter and within 10 days they don't abate it, then they can go out and they can write them a ticket or to take them to court. Or we can do get a contractual mowing service for these properties and come in, and after 10 days, they don't abate them, then we can go in, clean up the property, and then go put a lien on, send them the bill. If they don't pay it, we put a lien on their property, with their property tax. It's however you guys would rather us do it. Now, the dilapidated homes, we do have several of those. Those we'll have to work closely with Jared to try to get those pushed through. That's one thing going with Brian, is he would be able to help us get those dilapidated homes just done. Like, there's several that just need to be, we just need to complete the process.
Yeah.
And those would all go through the,
End up coming back here eventually for you all to declare them dilapidated and authorize the abatement process. But there's a lot of steps before that happen before it gets to you. You try to resolve it amicably before you bring it here.
And that is one thing that is of note, saying, so the difference between us and if you hired someone full-time W-2 in-house, usually when you do that, you're appointing that person as code enforcement, and you give them a select amount of authority to go with that job. as consultants, because that's what we have to do, this is a third-party thing, there's an AG opinion out there, which we could get into, but I won't. Basically, we have to recommend, like, we followed due notice, this is the procedure, the state law's been satisfied, what do you want to do with that? So again, I come back to whatever happens here is at the discretion of the board. And I say that so that when somebody calls you and says, this guy's doing fill in the blank, you know that that absolutely is not true, because I don't have the authority to do it.
And it could be, like, since we're doing this, that we could just bring a list, like, this is the, you know, a list every month to you guys and go, this is the status. You know, we have so many that complied, but these people have not complied, they're out, you know, they're outside their window. Do we wanna, you know, abate it and ourselves and put a lien, or do we wanna go ahead and, you know,
I
whatever.
mean, when it
process.
comes to the point that it
Mhm.
hasn't been taken, yeah.
And-
I don't particularly want to see a list every month of what needs to be done. I think that would be his job. But when it gets to that point, and I'll go back to what I said before, some of the places that are on the list now have been on for literally years. And I get a lot of complaints from people complaining about the looks of the community and trash and weeds. But the minute the town does something about it, then we hear from the other side that, you know, that this is my property and I bought it and paid for it, and I can do anything I want to on it. And I don't know, I'd like to, Jared could probably help us with this, maybe come up with a policy to give them. This would be the steps we'd like you to take. Because I hear you saying it can be anywhere between just a little bit to a full-blown.
Yeah, this gives you structure. This would give you the structure that you don't have to come back to the board. You know exactly what the next steps are. So basically, us putting it in policy would give you those steps that we would like you to take. So
Yeah, absolutely. And just FYI, I understand that you don't want necessarily to set that report. So we have two styles.
Well, I know I don't mind,
Okay.
but and I just want to make sure I didn't misunderstand. I don't want you to have to come to us every month or to Tiffany and say, here's a list of places we want checked. I want to stay completely out of it.
Sure.
And
No, they
You
will
know,
come and they will check the
they will just
properties and they will
canvass.
start
Okay.
the state, because the state has set guidelines on the
Right.
procedures. And so he will go through those procedures. Now, when it gets to the point where the person hasn't complied, that's when he's going, okay, you
you
know,
really want to take this person?
how are we going to handle it at that point?
Well, and so we have two styles of reports, up to you. We have one that's, well, it's like the one you have in there. Here's everywhere we were, here's everything we found. We also have a very condensed report because some cities just want to stay, exactly like you said, out of it. We were in town this day, we found this many properties, here's what we're doing, have a good day.
Yeah.
We would probably still provide that other report for you, just because then I kind of want you guys to know where we've been, what we've done,
Sure.
It's just transparency is a big deal to me.
No, I think that's good.
well, that way,
Good.
other people had questions. You have that big report. Yes, I think that's great.
So however you guys want to go with the policy issue, that's fantastic. Just let me know on the margin. Other than that, everybody gets the same notice, and then we play with the same rules. Again, I want to be clear, if you call us and you try to work out an action plan and you're actually working towards that, we're going to be reasonable and work with you. This is mainly, we're talking, I think, about the people that just thumb their nose up and say, I'm not doing anything. Take me to court.
So he has, in that report, he has 3 different options, programs. Like, one would be everything, correct? That would be the year-round compliance.
Correct.
And then he has option 2, which is seasonal abatement, which is pretty much your summer months, because you're dealing a lot with high weeds and grass, which everything is pretty much $525 a month, but he would only be in town 8 months. And then option 3, for like it looks like a lot of times in the winter, you guys, that's when you do a lot of the
Dilapidated.
structural abatements. So I myself, a initial 12 months, I would really like us to go with the year-round thing,
I
because
totally agree.
we need we need all of it pretty well done. Cause I know there's a lot of dilapidated houses that we need to, not a lot, but I mean, there's a handful or two.
Did you look at the town really well? You're still willing to do it for $5.25 a month? Okay.
If anybody does it for more than that, I'll put it this way. Are we gonna get every little, like, hey, there's a blade of grass, you know, and I'm being a little silly there, but are we gonna get every minor thing? No, absolutely not. But I don't think that's what you guys want. You know, if we come into this with a small town in mind, right? People are gonna live on their property, and there's gonna be some things that maybe I don't like, but it's not a violation. And at the same time, you know, we are gonna get the stuff that when you drive by, you're slamming on the brakes saying, oh my God, what was that? You know, that's what we're here to do. Now, that doesn't mean that we're gonna get 10 or 12, that means we're gonna get the worst of the worst, and then we're gonna work our way down to try and get you guys to a place of where you don't have to worry about these citizen complaints coming in every 20 minutes. We try to be reasonable.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it's a great option for us. Jared, would you help us with the?
And we'll have a contract that will.
It's the same one that you reviewed for.
Yeah, that we can bring it back, and probably, and there's been a while since I've looked at that in Kingfisher, but there'll be some parameters that we wanna put in there, that how hard do we wanna go?
Sure.
But yeah, that process of, hey, let's try to work and get it taken care of is generally the best way to go with it, so.
Okay, so we can go ahead and approve that now, though.
We'll need the written contract before we can actually.
Okay, so we can, so we'll table it, and then once we get the contract and everything, then we'll approve it
Right,
that
then
day.
we approve it, so we can go, yeah, you gotta have the writing in front of you before you can actually approve it.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Brian.
Not a problem. You guys have a good one.
You guys have any
Thank
more
you,
questions?
Brian.
Thanks for
I'll
having
be in contact.
Okay.
You guys didn't have any more questions? I kind of
No,
cut you off. No? Good? Okay. All right, 6.2, discussion with possible action to approve pay application request number 1 for Rudy Construction in the MRDAF project 38,698 and 39,175 in the amount of $267,726.88, with $199,295.16 coming from ODOT grant money and $66,431.72 coming from the town of Hennessey restricted streets matching money. I make a motion to approve the pay application request number 1 for Rudy Construction in the MRDAF project 38,698 and 39,175 for the amount of $265,726.88, with $199,295.16 coming from ODOT grant money and $66,431.72 coming from town of Hennessey restricted streets matching money.
Second.
Randy,
Yes,
Bert,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
as long as I don't have to read that again. 6.3, discussion with possible action to approve school resource officer agreement with the Hennessey Public Schools. Sir?
Yeah, so basically, this is gonna be the same contract as last year, well, very similar. Plan is, to put Officer Rojo back into the school. He did spectacular last year, and I think that would be, I think he fits that role perfectly. So that's really all I have on it.
How many hours a week is he at school?
40.
40 hours he is there, well, 40, okay.
Yeah, I would agree. He is great in that role. I've seen him with the kids. It's great to have him there. So. I would like to make a motion to approve school resource officer agreement with the Hennessey Public Schools.
Second,
Randy,
Yes.
John,
yes.
Bert.
Yes.
6.4, discussion with possible action to fill vacant seats on the Board of Trustees. So did we get clarification that we are gonna have to go to,
I think that that's the safe move for Harold's seat.
Okay.
There is a little bit of, I think it's Attorney General opinions out there that potentially give you some wiggle room on when that date starts, but it was for something completely different than this. I can't even remember what exactly it was, but it didn't give me the warm fuzzies at least. I mean, obviously it's nothing you could make the decision, say, no, let's go ahead and try it. But, you know, if you're risk averse, which of course I am in my role,
Sure.
I would think for Harold's seat, because it would have been deemed vacated, was that back in April, I believe, we're well outside of that 60 days. We were when we had that meeting last month.
Sure.
So I think the smart move there is to go ahead and call an election. Then David's seat, I think you've got basically until the end of the month, you could still appoint for that one. Or since you're already probably going to have to go out for an election for one, maybe you decide you want to do it for both. But I think you've at least got the option there that you all decide, so.
My personal opinion, I think it's best if we have to go to an election for one, we go to an election for both. We let the people decide who they want in those seats, and I personally think that that's the best method.
I agree.
So
Would that be an election before the next general election, or, you know, whenever we do our normal
Yeah,
town board elections?
We'll have to
Will
pull
we
up
call
the.
special
Yeah,
election?
we'll call a special election, so probably be the only thing on the ballot. We'll have to pull up the election board's calendar, their timeline, but we'll be able to draft that resolution and all of that stuff to bring back to you at the next meeting. With all of that lined out, we'll have run through it with the election board, so we know that that's a good date. We've calculated all of our days correctly, that they're fine with our wording and all of that. That way we know when we bring it to you, it's ready to go, but we'll get it on the next available election that we can take.
Jared, I got a question about that. It's been my understanding in the past that if the board appoints, it is only until the next scheduled municipal election, which in this case would be April of 27. If this goes to special election, am I correct in saying that it is to fill out those unexpired terms?
Correct.
So whoever would be elected in this special election, instead of serving till 27, would serve till April of 29.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm trusting you on when all of those terms line up.
Right.
I think that's right, but the easy way to think about it, just generically, if you're appointed, it's only until the next regularly scheduled election. If you go through an election, even though it's partially through a term, it's to fill the rest of that term. So what you said, I think, is exactly right here. And matches up with what I remember the terms and all of that being.
Well,
So-
personally, I feel like going to a special election is the most fair way to solve this issue, to let the people decide who they want. The other thing is, I think it would be better for the town of Hennessey that 5 people don't exit this board this coming April, which could potentially happen.
Yeah, and going the election route again, assuming all of those election
Mhm.
days and term dates are correct. You're exactly right. If you appoint and you all are all 3 up, your term ends in 27, then yeah, you're exactly right. Every seat would be open for an election in 27, which is scary. You wouldn't be the first place that's ever done it. But it's a scary prospect for sure.
I'm just thinking about continuity.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
we don't need to take any action on that currently
No,
then?
I think you've given the guidance that we need. Doesn't sound like we need to call a special election to get anything appointed, so just at the next meeting. Unless I get back in there and I look and say, hey, when our regular meeting would be scheduled, that's gonna kick us 2 more months down the road or something. Like if I find something like that timing's an issue, we may ask for a special election or a special meeting to do that resolution so we can still get it done quickly, because having 3 people on a board is dangerous too. One of you is sick, we can't have a meeting, things like that. So we want to get it done quickly. So chances are we'll just take care of it at the next meeting, but again, if that shifts our timeline wildly, we can discuss. I'll get with Tiffany and see if we need to have a special meeting to make sure we get marks to get it taken care of.
Thank you, Jared. 6.5, discussion with possible action to remove Harold Shaw and David Jones, former board members from Community State Banks, accounts ending in 3265, 3276, 3298, and 3309. I make a motion to remove Harold Shaw and David Jones, former board members from Community State Bank, accounts ending in 3265, 3276, 3298, and 3309.
Second.
Randy,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Bert.
Yes.
Discussion with possible action to remove Harold Shaw and David Jones, former board members from interbank accounts ending in 4900, 3686, 3048, and 3076. I make a motion to remove Harold Shaw and David Jones from interbank accounts ending in 4900, 3686, 3048, and 3076.
Second.
Randy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
6.7, discussion with possible action on pay scale for the fiscal year 26-27. I think we tabled that from last month. I don't remember.
We did.
Was
2
it
months ago.
tabled or was it just
That was
dropped?
from 2 months ago.
Okay.
And then last month, I believe you said that there are so many people to table it till next month.
I think that's right.
Well, I used for the budget, cause we kept tabling it, I used from the budget the pay scale from the previous year.
Okay.
So, and then I do know that we would talked about extending it out to, extending it out. So, you guys would need to give me direction on
Yep.
exactly what you wanna do, and then, cause I'll need to come back and do some budget amendments for that too.
We'll revisit that when we get a chance. I guess I kind of dropped the ball on that one. 6.8, discussion with Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group, OMAG, stance on event insurance coverage. So you said OMAG will be here next month?
Yes.
So we'll table that until they're here to talk more about it. Okay, 6.9, discussion with possible action to approve planning board recommendation to approve rezoning application made by Monty Bullis for 318 West 7th, legally known as number 2 BEG, 130 feet north of northwest corner of block 6, Shades Edition, 24, section 24, 19 north, 7 west, 0.287 acres, Hennessey, meters and bounds, from agricultural to R3 multifamily.
So the planning board met last Tuesday, and after about 45 minutes of discussion with Monty, and then we had the Marquezes that live just to the south of there. The planning board approved to recommend to you guys approval of this. I think if you guys approve it, then we have to do an ordinance to actually change the zoning, do we not?
I'll have to double check on that, it's been a long time, I don't remember doing it.
Okay.
I know we do when we're annexing it in, I'll double check it.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that it's
Yeah,
done
right,
correctly.
right, absolutely.
And I know it's
absolutely.
been a long time since we've rezoned some stuff, but.
Okay. I felt like it was just an exception to the rest of the zoning.
Well, not necessarily an exception, it's when you go, because your first move is from agricultural to something else, that was usually a pretty easy move.
Okay.
Which is exactly what we're doing here.
Okay.
And like I say, I don't remember a lot of times there being an ordinance that gets associated with it, but I'll
Okay.
double check that and make
Okay,
sure.
just make
And
sure.
Again, we wanna do it right.
Okay, so are we okay to approve this, or do we need to?
Yeah, I think you approve
Okay.
You have the choice to approve the
Okay.
recommendation from P and Z.
Sure.
He's wanting to put duplexes, 5 duplexes, which would hold 10 tenants, so that's what he's wanting to do.
Well, Hennessy's definitely not, we don't have a ton of open housing, so I think it's definitely needed. We need more options, so.
I know in his initial plans, like it'll be a 1-bedroom and then a 2-bedroom, so each of them, so there'll be 5 1-bedrooms and 5 2-bedrooms, so
Okay.
I'm excited because we do need.
Yeah,
that.
we definitely need more places like that.
We get a lot of calls for singles,
Oh, yeah,
single bedrooms.
okay.
I'm make a motion to approve the planning board's recommendation to rezone the area of 318 West 7th. Jared, do I need to read this legal in the motion?
I think we all know what
Okay.
it is exactly.
Okay.
Give the address, that gets us
Okay.
good enough.
Okay.
Wish you'd told me that
Rezone
earlier.
from agriculture to R3 multifamily.
I'll second it.
Bert,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes. Okay. 6.10, discussion with possible action to approve job description of business and community relations liaison position.
So I went to a Department of Commerce
Thank you,
meeting approximately 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and they were talking about how you not necessarily want to get new business in your town, but you want to figure out how you can keep your existing ones. And so I'm thinking, this is something, we need somebody to go door to door to stuff like this. And then I'm thinking, it was around Christmas time and the Reserve Angels and the parade and just different things were going on. And I'm like, oh, because, Shelley, she likes to go around and visit with people and come up with creative ideas, ways to do things. So I sit down and I talk to her. And so I've been mulling this over and everything. And so the 4th of July was like her, well, Brandy and I called
Debut.
it her audition.
It was a great interview.
And so to me, I think she would be very good helping businesses even. I mean, because I'm looking, yes, the side of being able to community liaison with different events and stuff like that is good, but I think one of the main focus I would like to initially start on is the business side, because we do have a lot of businesses that are struggling to try to keep their doors open. So if she can go to door to see how the town can help them, and even, maybe her innovative ideas, and things like that. But to show that the businesses, that the town really, really wants to help them.
Sure.
And so I put in there that this is like a part-time, because she's still gonna do court clerk. So it's gonna be kind of like a part-time court clerk, part-time liaison, and so, but go from there.
I think it'll be great to have somebody to do that, but the job description, it has so many things in it. I hope it doesn't keep her too busy.
I think a lot of them go hand in hand with each other. And I've asked her when we first start out, like, this is gonna be a trial, like, let's see how, because that's why I said, right now it's a part-time position, but eventually we may see that the outcome of it, that we really need this position full-time, and maybe take the court clerk and put somewhere else. But I think, I've told her to ask her to keep time of what she's spending on what aspects, to see what we can do.
Because I need a lot of time for my Christmas parade that I have planned.
So, but anyway, that's,
Yeah, I think it's good.
so, it is a pretty lengthy,
Yeah.
but I was trying to figure out how to get, and to me, I mean, some of it too will be working hand in hand with Discover Hennessey, with Jack and his crew.
Sure.
Because, they helping with the promotional and just trying, I think it'll just be a great addition for the town. So.
And I think too, with events, that it kind of keeps everybody on the same page. For instance, the Hennessey Eagle flags that were just put out in memory of Dana, I loved that. And I think it just shows, a cohesive community. And, but I think, I didn't know about it until I saw them. But I think if somebody called the businesses, and maybe that's not what you've got in mind for her.
Oh, no, we did. We had heard about Dana's passing, and I said, go put the Hennessey Eagle flags out there. If we can't do
Yes.
anything, let's put the Hennessey Eagles. And so Shelley, she immediately gets on her phone and starts messaging all the businesses to get their flags out there. And so it just kind of, she did. She got on her phone and just started messaging.
Well, and because of
And
it,
so-
I don't have any, but I bought two.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm gonna put one on each side of the walk,
Yeah.
and
So,
I think it's great.
so.
I make a motion to approve job description of business and community relations liaison position.
Second,
Randy,
Yes.
John,
yes.
Yes.
Okay. 611, discussion and take action on town's role in EMS concerning the 522 district.
I asked for this to be put on the agenda partly because I've got some questions for Jared that I think he may need to research. And it's probably a little bit premature, but I feel like the town needs to be thinking about it. The 522 district was voted in by the people to add 3 mills on the ad valorem tax. And the 522 board has been seated. The town, as far as I know, will still be requested to put in sales tax money, provide housing, and the ambulance unit itself. I've got to say, first of all, Jared, I think we need some opinion on that because it is 2 separate funds being commingled. The other thing is that I'm really disappointed that nobody on the 522 board resides in the city limits of Hennessey. And I was told that they don't want people in the city limits of Hennessey serving on that board. I don't know who they are, but so that's hearsay. But, you know, my question to that is, do they want the town's tax money, the building, and things like that? Because it's going to be hard for one fund to operate an adequate EMS service in the community without the other. And I really, what I thought should have happened was the county appoint 2 people, the town recommend 2 people, and then the town and county together come together with one other member. But if you could do some research for us and find out.
I'll have the county district attorney do the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to have some kind of an interlocal agreement to figure out, especially the funding side of it, if they're gonna use any of our buildings.
Well,
There definitely gonna be a lot there. The board side of it, I don't have as strong a thought on immediately.
The what? I'm
The
sorry.
board makeup,
Uh-huh.
because that's the 522 board, like a lot of that stuff is set in the ballot language,
Right.
question and exactly how that's gonna go.
Mhm.
But yeah, happy to look at it a little bit. and see what we can-
I'm not gonna be too keen as just one board member to vote to turn $250,000 over if there's no representation from the town.
So what do you want done?
It's too late. I wanted.
I
Was
know.
there a certain board member that you're dissatisfied with?
I don't really know at this point because I haven't, they haven't had any meetings or done anything. So I can't say that I am.
What do you want to happen?
Well, I want Jared to do some legal work and find
Okay.
out where the town is on investing that money into another entity.
Into another?
Yes, because the 522 board will be operating the EMS service in this entire area.
Okay.
Where the town has contracted it, the town won't be doing that anymore. And therefore, the town won't have any input on what contractor or what service is being provided.
So are you suggesting there be another board? I mean,
No,
Okay,
I'm waiting to hear a legal opinion from him.
okay,
That's all I'm asking for
okay.
today.
You don't want the opinion today, I hope.
No. That's why I want to go ahead and that's why I want to go ahead and get it on the agenda.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
for tonight so we could discuss it and ask you, because I know it's gonna take some
Yeah,
research.
it'll take a little bit. I mean, like I say, I think some of it's pretty easy. But if Jimmy or somebody up at the DA's office is gonna work on it too, we'll work with them. We'll get some answers so we know what's going on.
Because I think they'll probably have to do an interlocal agreement with Garfield County too, is that right?
Yeah, they're probably, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on, it depends on where the funds are coming
Yeah.
from. So I mean, all things that we're definitely gonna need to be discussing.
Because some of the funds will come from
Right.
Garfield County too, so.
And I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a 5-member board, but
That's
it
correct.
can be more members than that, correct?
Absolutely can, but I felt like 5 was plenty. I felt like the board members that are on that 522 board are very, what I call, adverse. I don't know if there's a problem with anyone in particular. And I can comment on what, the comments you made, about not wanting, since it was countywide,
Mm-hmm.
the people who voted against this wanted it to be more scattered through the county. They don't want the town to have control over this.
Then maybe they don't want the town's money. We can give it back to the
Man, that's a-
taxpayers.
That would be a 522 board. I mean,
I understand that. I'm not trying to create a problem here, but I do have a problem when you say the people who voted against this want this.
say
The
their
I'm sorry.
vote, what are you saying?
You're
about
saying the
people?
people who voted against 522 don't want anyone in the town to have any input.
And see, Bert, I look at this in a different way. I look for the people who voted no on the 522 board, I welcomed them to that board because I'd like to see that this works very well. And it kind of shows you, or shows them that they were wrong.
I'm sorry, I'm not following you on that, but my whole stance is it passed. And we're listening to the people who voted no, but it passed, so we've got to move on with that.
Absolutely.
And
But wouldn't you say the majority of this 522 will be paid for by landowners and
absolutely,
property owners?
absolutely. Well, yeah, of that portion, yes. But it'll be about an equal portion that the town's going to contribute.
I don't know if it's equal proportion the way that's gonna be paid for. I mean, I live here in town. I live in a 60-year-old house.
No,
I don't
I'm
pay
not-
the property tax
I'm sorry.
that Mr. Peach does.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the property tax side. I'm talking about the town's input of restricted sales tax will about be equal to what the county's gonna collect in ad valorem tax for 522.
My thoughts on that, I think the ambulance tax that the city pays, I don't think it should ever go away. I think it should always stay in place. I think if anything, it should be a decrease in the millage. If we get this paid for and we see that we have abundance of money, I think we should pass it on to the landowners. Instead of 3 mills, I think we should drop this down to 2 mills. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I don't think we're gonna have the extra money. I think it's gonna take all of both in order to pay for this. So, I mean, but I understand what you're saying. The sales tax has been there a lot longer. And, you know, trying to give the people outside of town a break, I understand that. But unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna be the boat we're gonna sit in. So I think it's gonna take all of everything we can get together to
Well, I
pay
do
for
too.
this.
I
So,
think it's gonna be a combined effort, and I don't think
So.
we need to do anything territorial. I think with everybody, it's gonna take the city sales tax, the ambulance tax, and the 522 to make this work.
I agree
But
with
Mike,
you.
my point is, there's no city representation on how that money will
I
be
beg to
spent.
differ in a way. One of my 522 board members is right behind me.
Correct?
You might say he's out of city limits, but he said Miller Heights. That's pretty close to the city. Pearl at Lonco, right there in Ike's Acres. You're kind of splitting hairs right there. That's still in the city. But that's just my thoughts on that. And I think also with Puerto Blanco, I think that's a good voice for the Hispanic people in this town. I really do. I'll stick to that.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about anybody that's on there, Mike. I just, I would have liked for somebody within the city limits of Hennessey to have been chosen.
Well,
And I think they should have
Some of
been.
these people may get tired right off the bat and wanna opt out of there.
I was on the 911 when it was created. Yeah.
And I've got another idea, but I'll talk to you about that later.
So I do have a question. You mentioned that, you're kind of hesitant on letting the 522 board have what the town puts in. We have to have our budget committed by September 1st. So is that something that, and we haven't even had a meeting, he just gave our last 5th person on Monday. So this is, I was supposed to call him and talk to him and I failed to do that. But if we have to have that turned in by September 1st. So, and I know this is a hard question, how long is it gonna be for you guys to figure out, or Jared to figure out, if that money comes our way? Or if the building comes, or if the ambulance comes, because that's all something that the 522 board's gonna have to take into consideration. Because if we're trying to go operate off of the figure I have as $199,000, then we're not gonna be getting much, versus if the money you have and the ambulance will take into consideration plus the building. It's gonna be a big difference on, I think, what someone's gonna bid it for. If we refurbish them housing, if we refurbish an ambulance, plus we have a little more money that the town wants to give. And I understand what you guys are saying, but I haven't even started yet, and I'm already scared I'm running out of time to get this before September 1st.
You'll have something by our August meeting
I
once.
certainly hope so.
Okay.
I think all that'll be on the table, just we got to,
Sure.
we got to figure out the legalities of what we can and can't do and make sure that we have everything in place to make sure we're not doing something illegal or something, we didn't have all of our, I's dotted and T's crossed. At the end of the day, this is taxpayer money, we have to make sure that it's appropriated correctly as it's supposed to and done correctly. So that's my biggest concern of this whole situation, so.
Mine too, which is, I put it on there.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. We'll move on to 7, new business. Any matter not known or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting the agenda in accordance with section 311-9, title 25 OS. Don't have anything. Number 8, council person's report. Bert.
Nothing.
John?
Nothing.
I just want to say what a great job Shelley and all the volunteers. I know Alyssa helped, a lot of the city workers were out there helping. Everybody that was involved with Freedom Fest, I don't know how else to describe it, but a huge success. It was great. The only thing is, that was the first one, and I'm sure you've got lots of things that you want to work on. The bird agrees. But you guys did a phenomenal job, and I think it'll grow every year, and I think every event will grow. And I applaud you all. You all did an awesome job.
Thank you. Alyssa and her boys, they literally saved the day because Alyssa, Jamie, and I worked on it up till the day of, but the rest of the boys stepped up, and it was not a nice, cool day. It was hot when we first started out, but the evening started out. But I will say, we've had a lot of people in the town who's reached out to me. One of them, for instance, was a vendor this year. He wants to be on the other side next year. He wants to be over on the planning side. I've had people reach out to me and hey, I've already bought you this to use next year, and they're wanting to do that. So it's been a lot of fun. Planning, I think we're gonna expand it.
Yeah, great. I just want to say you guys did a great job, and I didn't forget about Jack. Jack, thank you for you and your team and all you guys do as well. It was awesome. I imagine. So anyway, that's all.
You probably haven't seen anything yet.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Randy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Welcome to the Town of Hennessey Utility Authority Board of Trustees regular meeting. Tuesday, July 14th, Town Hall Council Room, 6 PM. Call to order and roll call, please.
Randy,
Here.
Bert,
Here.
John.
Yeah, here.
Consider approval of consent agenda, minutes from the previous month's meetings. Approval of claims as follows: Hennessey Utility Authority Fund, $140,599.81. Previous month's Hennessey Utility Authority Fund, $2,988.99. Renew contract with Crawford and Associates to provide accounting services for the Hennessey Utility Authority for fiscal year 27. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Randy? Oh,
Yes.
we need a second.
Second.
Oh.
Bert,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Number 3, citizens' comments. Okay. Number 4.1, discussion with possible action to approve the pay application request number 1 for Worth Hydrochemical for RO membrane replacement phase 2, funded with the Series 2021 debt service construction loan administered through Bank First. I make a motion to approve pay application request 1 from Worth Hydrochemical for RO membrane replacement phase 2, funded.
Okay, Randy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
And they've started that replacement. That's to tell you, so.
4.2, discussion with possible action on pay scale fiscal year 26-27. We said we were gonna save that for another meeting. I just died. I'm gonna have to borrow. Okay. Oh,
Here, I've got a red one.
I think you're just
There you go.
to.
yeah, we just gotta,
New
Because
business.
mine was dead
Business.
before I got here, so.
all right, we'll move on to 5. New business, any matter not known or which could not have been reasonably foreseen at the time posting the agenda in accordance with section 311-9, title 25 OS. Okay. Councilperson's report. Bert?
No.
John?
Nothing.
I don't have anything. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Randy,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Bert.
Yes.
Good job, boys.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well,
It was a pretty loaded agenda and you guys did